Let's look at the population in the state that's between 50 and 65. What do we know about them? We know that roughly within the next 15 years, many of them, if not most, are going to retire. Who's going to replace them? For the most part, it's our young people under 15. As they enter the workforce officially starts at 16, so as they enter the workforce gradually, they're mostly going to be replacing them. So let's look at that ratio, the young to the old. Do we have enough young people to replace our workforce? And in 1990, 1.75 young people for every person nearing retirement. We look over the next 15 years, our workforce grew about 17%. And it wasn't just because of that, there were some other things involved. By 2000, down to 1.42, we were still okay. Look at where we were in 2000, and actually the last number there, the 0.87, is 2018. Right now we're at 0.87. So in other words, for every 100 people, 50 to 65, nearing retirement, we have 87 young people that will be entering the workforce over the next 15 years. What does that mean? That means unless we bring people in from the other states, unless we change our migration patterns, our workforce is going to shrink. We know that. So that makes that migration challenge really significant. So I wanted to look, where were we on migration? We've never been, and I looked at this across a variety of age groups, and I'm going to focus on a couple of the most key ones. The first is what I call the recent college graduates. That's not all college, they're not all college graduates, but the 20 to 24-year-old population, many of them go to college. What's happening to them over 5 years as they age into their late 20s? We've never been really good at retaining these young people. In the 90s, we were about flat. In the 2000s, we lost 25,000 people each, roughly over 5 years. That's not gotten any better with the millennials. We're at about 30,000 between 2010 and 15 that we've lost. Okay? Where do we make up for that? We've always been good at attracting young families. That's been our strength. Great public schools, a safe state, a lot of public amenities. So we've been very good at this. And you look at 1990 to 95, the 25 to 44-year-old population in terms of net migration, about 60,000. Since 95 to 2010, 17 to 25,000 roughly. So we've been good at attracting those. What really struck me when I looked at this is the 2010 to 15. We're actually losing among that age group as well. That's part of what's creating this workforce challenge that we have right now. These are people that will immediately enter the workforce. And as I'll get to in just a second, another challenge, the long-term challenge, is these are the young families that bring kids with them or are starting families. Okay? By having a net out-migration of that challenge, we're making the long-term challenge even worse. The good news is migration overall, this is among all age groups, is beginning to tick up. So during about 2005 on, we've generally been a net loser in terms of migration. The last couple of years, the Census Bureau numbers show that that's turning around, and we're actually moving up. That's a positive. But here's where it's not enough. It's not even close to enough. The DOA's population projections, in order to get just a flat workforce over the next 25 years, we need to have a net positive migration of over 100,000 during 2015 to 20, and about 180,000 between 2020 and 30. Okay, so we're ticking up, but we really got to turn that number around significantly. And so let me finish just with one even longer term projection or look at where we are. The other piece that I did was on birth rates and what's happening there. And birth rates have been declining since 2007. 2018, the number of births in this state was the lowest since 1973. Think about that. Think about what the population was in 1973 compared to now. We have about the same number of births. Now, we're not Michigan. Michigan came out with a similar number. What they looked at, their number of births in 2018 was the lowest since the 1940s. So this is happening everywhere. But when you combine those declining births with the fact that we're not bringing in the young kids from the net migration, our under 10 population in 2018 was 43,000 less than it was in 2010. Our 10 to 18 population was 25,000 less than it was in 2010. So we have this current workforce challenge now. We don't have the young people in this state to continue to grow our workforce. And that's where today becomes so important. How do we turn that around? How do we generate that workforce of tomorrow? By tomorrow, I don't just mean 2020 and 2021. I mean 2030, 2035.